Hey, John Stonehill, how are you? My name is Lazlow in Kansas City.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm interested because Meredith, our producer, showed us your website, which I find fascinating. Checktheirfridge.com. And you, as I've been scrolling through it, it makes a lot of sense. You're basically the Dr. Drew or Dr. Phil of relationships. You give basic relationship advice, which is very straightforward and accurate. And not only that, then you couple it with this refrigerator experience that you have that will then go on and give us a deeper insight into the people that we perhaps want to date longer, further, or move on to even something more than dating.
Absolutely. I couldn't summarize it myself better, and I think I need to hire you to work on my team.
All right, great. So you're the refrigerator dating expert, and it's what does your fridge say about you? Now, this only works. Does this only work? I'm interested because I'm married.
Right, me too.
But I'm interested if you can, maybe you could step up your game just a tad. We're going to get to what you really do. But don't you think you could go into how is your marriage or your domestic partnership going by looking at the fridge?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, look, we all need a mix of going out, staying home. We need a mix of, like, the regular meals and those special occasions. Like, for instance, if you're married right now, one question I'd ask you guys, do you have a bottle of champagne in your fridge?
Yes, my wife does in the bottom door, the fridge door.
Right.
I don't know if it's been opened or not. It might be flat. I don't remember.
Listen, I love to see that. But to me, champagne's something you should always have in your fridge. It's that fun thing that you pop it. It's like that celebration, enjoy the moment kind of product. You know, you pop the champagne, you hear the cork, you hear the bubbles. It's one of those things where sometimes in relationships we get so caught up in everyday life that we don't take the time to really kind of enjoy the relationship itself. So, yeah, I could totally go into a fridge of a relationship. And if your fridge is so full of so many different things that it's so obvious you guys are not going out enough, then you guys need to make sure you find enough you time. You guys have to make sure you get out there and still make an effort to have that romance and that sauciness. Because at the end of the day, I don't care what anybody says, relationships are work. I think they're really worth it. But, you know, you just can't go on autopilot and think that things are going to be really fun and really saucy moving forward. We all have to work on that. And looking at that fridge, you could really see how somebody's eating, drinking, how they're socializing, are they hosting? Like, for instance, I know we'll dive into Dakota's fridge at some point, but she is the hostess of all hostesses, so I look forward to talking about her fridge. But the reality is we all have to, like, kind of make those efforts. And by looking in that fridge, whether you're married, whether you're single, you get such great insight into, are we healthy? Are we taking care of ourselves? Are we hygienic? Do we stink? What kind of income do we have? What are our hobbies? Do we care about the environment? I've done so many brand studies where I could look at a certain brand and say, oh, you're drinking Vodka vodka, you're probably reading People magazine. Oh, you're drinking Pedal One, you're probably reading Vanity Fair. You know, and so I've done so many studies, and, like, we kind of take all these crumbs and all these clues, and you get such a really good idea. And you know what's really funny about this, guy, is that we're all looking at somebody's car and we're making a judgment. We're all looking at somebody's clothes and we're making a judgment. We're all thinking, hey, somebody does this for a living, we make a judgment. When you look in a fridge, you get all the above. You get so much more insight into everything.
All right, now we had some people send you pictures of their fridge. Did you get them?
I did. I got them a few minutes ago, and I felt I'd focus on Keith and Dakota just because I don't know how much time you guys have.
Okay, Dakota and who?
Keith.
Keith. Okay, so Keith and Dakota.
And Dakota.
Yes.
Let's go. Who you got first?
All right. Well, look, when I look at Keith, I think that Keith makes a good living. He's a young professional because I look, you know, it's so zoomed in. I can't tell if it's a Sub-Zero or it's a Viking, but he definitely has a luxury fridge model.
Oh, so the first thing you do is actually take a look at the brand of the fridge if you can see it somewhere inside that door, huh?
Absolutely. Because here's the thing. I would never say that money can buy happiness, but what I can say is the relationships I've seen where one person could not financially take care of themselves going into the relationship, it often became a difficult issue moving forward in that relationship. So I'd like to see somebody who's financially independent, and Keith here is obviously printing some very nice Benjamins because he's got a very luxury fridge. He obviously has the money to really spend a lot more money than most of us would on the refrigerator.
Okay. What else? Now, what's he eating in there? Because I don't have the picture in front of me. So what kind of food has he got in there?
He's a very regimented, organized guy. He's definitely on a schedule. He's got like 5 prepared meals, all in Tupperware, with little fruit bags and this little organized yogurt. So I don't know if he's having, I can't see the exact detail when I zoom in, it gets a little fuzzy, but I can tell this is a guy, one of two things. Either he's having these meals delivered to him and he's on some kind of diet, or he's the most anal dude I've ever seen in my life, where he makes these little prepared meals, puts it perfectly in the Tupperware. I mean, it's so neat. He's obviously taking these lunches with him, so right there, I don't know if he's busy at his desk during the day and he's got the kind of high-stress job that he can't take a lunch hour, but it's clear to me that these are his lunches. He's taking them with him to his work every day.
But those two things could make a big difference. I mean, if he's hired someone to send him diet lunches already prepared,
right,
that paints a pretty different picture than a guy who's so regimented. He prepares all of his lunches for the week on Sunday night with, individual yogurts and shoves them in Tupperware. And we don't know for sure.
Yeah, no, I can't see that, but I can see he's definitely the kind of guy that's bringing his lunch to his office. He's not taking lunch hour. He might be on a diet, but what I do know also, which is good to see for Keith, the guy probably looks good naked. He's taking care of himself. He's eating well. He's got a lot of fruits and vegetables. You can see he's really going out of his way to watch what he's eating. And here's the thing. Nobody loves McDonald's more than me, but I say, you know what, I only have it like once a month. I kind of splurge, and then I kind of go back the next couple of days of taking care of myself. And I've never seen a situation where if somebody was not taking care of themselves while they were single, that they looked better when they were married. When we get married,
of course, that's a good point.
Life gets more stressful. Work gets more stressful. Suddenly you have a mortgage, you have a couple of kids to support. That workout time and that time where you could really go out of your way to eat well, it gets more and more difficult. So if you can't take care of yourself when you're single, that's a major red flag. And one kind of joke I have with my friends, especially since I've been analyzing fridges for 20 years now, is that when so many guys say, hey, if you want to know what a girl looks like in 20 years, check out their mom. I always say, no, you know what? Check out her fridge. Because however this girl or this guy, however they're eating and drinking now, that's what they're going to look like down the road. Because what's in this fridge is going to eventually be in that.
All right, we're talking to John Stonehill. The website is checktheirfridge.com. He's a relationship expert, and he says he can tell a lot about people based on the contents of the refrigerator. And Keith, we looked at his fridge, and you've made some good points. One, he's got a nice refrigerator, and two, these meals are already set out where we assume they're for his lunches at work. That tells me he's probably pretty good with money, because he could just be poor and he doesn't have enough money to take his lunch to work, but we know he's got a nice refrigerator, so he's probably just good with money.
Does it bother you at all that it looks like, John, I hate to bring this up, and I know, but it doesn't bother you at all that he's eating Activia?
I thought it might be Activia, and if it is, that's a major sign that this guy's got to up his game. I don't like to see Activia yogurt, because you know what Activia yogurt's about? Jamie Lee Curtis telling us how regular you are when you poop. And
right,
I'm sorry,
and he has one, two, three. He has 4 Activia yogurts, which bothers me. It tells me he has irritable bowel syndrome.
It is hilarious because I was actually on the Fox Morning Show in Kansas City last month, and Carly, I was on Carly, one of the reporters there. I was talking about the Activia in her fridge, and I said, "You're probably married because you know what? If you're single and the guy comes over, I'm sorry, but we don't like to think about women doing their business. That's not until way later on. Hide that in the back. It was front and center. So for this guy, I'm sure he's very regular, but the fact is, not a good thing to have right front and center of your fridge. I don't like to see that. Not a great move.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that. Hide the Activia. Just buy some Greek yogurt or something. We don't need to see the Activia.
Absolutely. And the one last thing I can say about his fridge also is this is a guy that to me, it's clear he's going out at night. He's getting out there because there's really nothing in this fridge to prepare a meal. Now, we can't see the fridge door. Maybe he's got a zillion condiments. That's something that's missing from this picture. If it is, then we could start making some assessments saying, okay, well, you know what? He does a lot of takeout. But what's so important when it comes to dating, so often, and actually I did some online dating myself a few years ago, and I was trying so hard to be clever that I realized, John, you're not going out there anymore. You have some good rap. Get out there. Go to the bars with your buddies. Meet girls. Sure, have that online profile, but don't let that be a substitute for actually going out there, meeting people, practicing conversation, and really putting yourself out there. Never let online be a substitute for that. And it seems like for Keith, just from looking at his fridge, there's really not much to eat here, especially for dinner. I would assume he's probably going out. And when we're single, we all have to make an effort. Sometimes we don't want to. It's easy to sit down on the couch after work and watch SportsCenter or The Bachelor or whatever we all like to watch.
Right.
But the reality is, make sure you get out there, and it looks like Keith is definitely getting out there.
All right, now Keith he has a website called Check Their Fridge, so if you're dating someone, you can open up their fridge. They can send you an email and a picture of the fridge, and you'll try to help them out, right? And we'll move off of Keith in a second, but the other thing that bothered me about this, and I'm no Check Their Fridge expert, I did spot the Activia, though, and I thought that was a little bit concerning. The other thing that bothers me just a little bit about Keith's fridge, who sent it to us to have you look at, is all those prepared meals you keep talking about. Am I the only one who thinks they look like they're the exact same meal?
Yeah, it almost just looked like a bucket of hummus and yogurt and vegetables.
Or it looks like noodles and some sort of sauce on top.
And it's so funny that you say that, because when I first looked at it, I'm like, what does this dude have? Quintuplets? Is he sending his kids off to school with the same lunch? It's funny that you
Right,
say
it
that.
all looks exactly the same.
And this might be one of them. For all I know, Keith is an accountant. He's a regimented guy where he's got 10 suits that all look the same. He's got the same blue suit. He's got 10 of the same shirt. Maybe he's a guy that can't handle diversification. He can't handle making decisions. Things have to be made for them. There's definitely a lot of very linear anal people out there that they need to have everything prepared for them. They don't want to make any more choices. So for all we know, and again, it's hard for me to see inside that Tupperware, but he might just be eating the same thing every day. He knows what he's getting, and he feels comfortable with that, which is not how I want to live.
Right, but my guess on this is, and we've talked about, my guess on this is that Keith used to be a fat guy, and he's not anymore. Keith likes to go out. He's lost a little bit of weight. Keith, he goes out to dinner, but he knows what he can eat for lunch and what he can't eat for lunch. He's got the 100-calorie things. He's got certain types of fruit there. Everything's kind of set in what he's going to eat every day, and he thinks, if I just put this in my refrigerator, then I can't come home and eat the Doritos like I used to.
And look, that might well be possible. I mean, I have a few guys, a few buddies of mine that used to be the fat dude, and they've kind of slimmed down. They're on similar plans as Keith, but I would still see a six-pack of light beer in their fridge. The one thing I kind of find about dieting, and again, Keith is obviously obsessed about something. I think we're all on the same page about that.
Right.
But the reality is life is about a balance. And to me, it's always about a balance. And you can't stick to something when it's so extreme that you're torturing yourself to eat that way. A doctor buddy of mine who has studied a lot of nutrition, what he said to me is, if you're going to eat bad for the day, eat really bad, and eat healthy the next day or the day after that. Choose a day where you're going to kind of go off the grid, eat whatever you want. And the next day or two after that, make sure you take care of yourself. But if you kind of just push yourself and torture yourself, I think if you put it this way, if he's a fat guy who's thin now, it seems to me that he's a miserable thin ex-fat guy, because we want to live like this. I mean, when we cheat ourselves of food and wine and beer, and again, all in moderation, but if you're torturing yourself to look a certain way, I just don't see you being a very happy dude. And when it comes to the women I've dated, the women that don't eat, I find are a little more frigid in the bedroom. I find that food is love, it's intimate, it's sexual. Now, again, I want to see a woman take care of themselves, but there's nothing more I can't stand than taking a girl for a date and you buy her dinner and she doesn't eat it. And you're like, you know what? You got a box of Twinkies probably hiding under your pillow at home. Eat the dinner. I want to see you. Let's enjoy food together.
I like it. All right, we're talking to John Stonehill. I'm sorry.
There it is.
That's okay.
CheckTheirFridge.com. And I got to say, with all this that we've talked about, I think the best thing you've said so far today, not to belittle anything else, this is amazing, but the part where you said if you want to know what your girlfriend or wife is going to look like in 30 years, don't look at her mom, look at what's in her fridge. We don't really think about that, but right. I know everyone right now is in their car or at work and they're thinking about what's in their fridge. And I'm thinking about that whole chicken that's just sitting there. I'm thinking about those random beers sitting around. I'm thinking about what's in my fridge, and I'm thinking about I need to make some changes. Just trying to picture it in my head.
And also, what kind of brands you buying generic? I remember, somebody sent their fridge pick, and they're made generic ketchup. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. If you can't afford Heinz ketchup and the extra 86 cents, move back in with your parents.
I buy all generic. My fridge, I thought about this. By
the way, I preach this all the time. If you have to buy generic SpaghettiOs or generic coffee, then you've lost at life. Give up.
Exactly. You know what? There's certain things you don't stinge out on. Don't stinge out on certain condiments. Don't stinge out on certain basics. Don't get Kroger Cola. Get Coke or get Pepsi. I mean, look, I could pass the Pepsi challenge any day of the week. I could taste the difference, but get what you like. There's certain things that if somebody's not buying certain brands, I know that they're not a fit for me, because if they're like stinging on those things, they're probably stinging on other things in their lives. The things that we're putting in our fridge is kind of a representation, because we're all habitual people. So we're doing something in our fridge, we're most likely doing it outside the fridge in other areas of our lives as well.
I agree 100%. Hey, the website is checktheirfridge.com, and people can send you pictures, right? And then you will give them advice as to whether they should date that person or not.
Absolutely, and then I do a fridge dating scorecard of the likelihood that you'll shag them on the first date, the likelihood that you'll marry them, and if it's the girl, the likelihood she'll boil your bunny, kind of call back to fatal attraction, and if it's the guy, the likelihood you're sleeping with the enemy. So I do kind of a fun little fridge dating scorecard with every fridge analysis.
And when you move on to analyzing whether or not marriages are going to work based on what's in their fridge, give us a call back, and we'll send you all pictures.
Yeah, because
of
I
what's
would
in our
love to
fridge.
send you a picture of my fridge.
Absolutely, I'd love to do that, and I'll put a couple. I'd love to get a fridge pics from you guys, and I'll put a post up on my website.
All right, I'm going to send you a fridge pic of mine today.
I would love that. I look forward to it.
Mine's just filled with kids' crap.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be hard to see around all
No,
that.
you'll be all right. You'll figure it out. It's filled with kids' crap and feta cheese.
Listen, just make sure you still have time with the missus. That's all I'm going to say. Put the effort in.
You got it.
Thanks, John.
Guys, thank you so much for having me on. It was a pleasure.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.